The world ended 3 days ago. You survived. Congratulations! Gold star for you. But here's the thing nobody told you in those cute prepper forums with their color-coded spreadsheets and tactical gear reviews. Surviving the first week is the tutorial level, the easy mode, the part where you're still running on adrenaline and canned soup. The real game? That starts now. And it's not about hoarding canned beans in your basement like some kind of post-apocalyptic squirrel preparing for winter. It's about rebuilding, about going from scavenger rat digging through trash to actual human being with a future that extends beyond next Tuesday. Most survivalists stop at water purification and a bug-out bag. Cute. We're going deeper, way deeper. This is the blueprint for dragging civilization back from the grave with your bare hands and whatever junk you managed to stockpile before the lights went out permanently. Today we're counting down the 10 essential stockpiles that separate the survivors from the rebuilders, the desperate from the prepared, the people who'll still be here in 5 years from the ones who'll be fertilizer by spring. The gear that lets you plant crops, forge metal, defend what's yours, and maybe, just maybe, stop eating rats and roaches by year 2. We're starting with the basics that keep you breathing and climbing all the way up to the actual foundation of society itself. Buckle up, this is going to get dark, educational, and uncomfortably real. Let's go.
Number 10, the calorie fortress that never betrays you. Forget your cute canned peaches gathering dust on your pantry shelf. Forget your freeze-dried camping meals and their shiny retort pouches that cost $8 per serving. We're talking bulk, industrial scale, decades-long storage that your grandchildren will inherit if you play your cards right. White rice, dried beans, wheat berries, honey that archaeologists found in Egyptian tombs still perfectly edible after 3,000 years, salt that's been currency, preservative, and essential mineral since before humans invented writing. This is the unglamorous foundation of not starving to death when the food supply chain becomes a distant memory and grocery stores are empty shelves with shattered windows. Here's the science most people miss, and it costs them everything. White rice outlasts brown rice by literal decades because brown rice has oils in the bran layer. Those oils contain unsaturated fatty acids with double bonds that oxidize and go rancid. Chemistry working against you. White rice is just the starchy endosperm, all the nutrition stripped away. Boring, bland, eternal. Store it properly in Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers and you've got 20 to 30 years of carbohydrates sitting in your basement waiting patiently. The oxygen absorbers are iron powder packets that rust when exposed to air, sucking out the oxygen through oxidation and creating an anaerobic environment where bacteria can't survive. No oxygen, no bacterial growth, no spoilage. Simple chemistry keeping you alive when everything else fails. You want calories that won't betray you, that won't rot when you desperately need them, that won't explode in fermentation gases or develop botulism toxins that'll kill you faster than starvation would have. Because in year 5, when the raiders have taken everything else and your neighborhood looks like a deleted scene from The Road, that bucket of rice hidden in your cache is the difference between you and the fertilizer you're currently growing tomatoes in. Add dried beans for protein. Rice and beans together provide all 9 essential amino acids your body can't synthesize. It's the dietary combination that's fed civilizations from Asia to Latin America for millennia. This isn't gourmand dining. This isn't Instagram-worthy meal prep. This is insurance written in carbohydrates and proteins. Stock a year's worth minimum per person. 2,000 calories per day times 365 days equals 730,000 calories per person annually. 1 pound of rice provides roughly 1,600 calories. You need about 450 pounds of rice per person. Sounds like a lot? It is. Survival isn't cheap and it isn't convenient, but starvation is permanent and really annoying.
Number 9, the seed vault that grows forever. You know what separates humans from animals? Agriculture. The ability to stay in one place and grow food instead of chasing it across hostile terrain. The Neolithic revolution that let us build cities and libraries instead of following deer herds. You want that back. You desperately need that back. You need seeds, but not just any seeds from the hardware store clearance bin. Heirloom seeds, open-pollinated varieties that humanity relied on for thousands of years before corporate agriculture decided genetic consistency and patent law were more important than food security. The difference is crucial and most people get this catastrophically wrong. Modern hybrid seeds from your local garden center? They're F1 hybrids bred for 1 generation of maximum yield. High productivity, disease resistance, uniformity. Great for industrial farming,
Terrible for survival. Plant the seeds from hybrid tomatoes and you get genetic segregation. Mendel's laws working against you. Second generation shows wild recombination. Weak plants, strange mutations, no fruit or terrible fruit, starvation with extra steps. Heirloom seeds breed true generation after generation because they're open-pollinated by wind, insects, and birds. Plant them. Let them grow. Save the seeds from your best plants. Plant those seeds next season. Repeat forever. Infinite food if you don't screw it up through poor selection or cross-contamination with inferior genetics. Store them cool, dry, and dark. Heat and humidity are your enemies here. Seeds are living embryos in suspended animation. Warm temperatures speed up their metabolism. Moisture triggers premature germination. You want suspended animation, not biological activity. Vacuum seal them if you can. Add desiccant packs. Test germination rates every 2 years by sprouting a sample on wet paper towels. Count how many sprout versus how many you planted. If 70% or more germinate, your seed stock is viable. If germination drops below 50%, your genetics are dying and you need fresh seed stock immediately. Grow calorie-dense crops first because calories equal survival. Potatoes, beans, squash, corn. The Three Sisters planting method the indigenous Americans perfected over centuries. Corn provides vertical structure. Beans climb the corn stalks, fixing atmospheric nitrogen and root nodules through symbiotic bacteria. Squash spreads below, providing ground cover for weed suppression and moisture retention. Permaculture principles wrapped in ancient agricultural wisdom that actually works. Learn it. Practice it before you need it desperately, because trying to learn gardening from a book while you're actively starving is a recipe for failure and death. This is how you transition from surviving on stored rice to actually eating real diverse food again. Fresh vegetables, variety, vitamins that prevent scurvy and pellagra. This is how you stop being a scavenger and become a farmer. Welcome back to the Neolithic Revolution. Try not to mess it up this time.
Number 8. The trauma kit that stops you from bleeding out. Medical infrastructure is gone. The hospital is a looted shell with broken windows and maybe some zombies if this is that kind of apocalypse. That urgent care clinic, stripped bare in the first week. The pharmacy, ransacked within hours. That cut on your leg from climbing through a broken window, it's a death sentence if you're not prepared. Trauma is the silent killer after the immediate collapse. Non-starvation in week 1, not dehydration, not even violence directly. It's bleeding out from a chainsaw accident while clearing debris. It's sepsis from an infected blister that spreads to your bloodstream because you couldn't keep it clean. It's a compound fracture that gets infected because sterile technique is a distant memory. The boring, preventable deaths that antibiotics and proper medical care used to handle easily. You need a real trauma kit, not a cute first aid box with cartoon bandages and a single-use ice pack. A serious, life-saving medical setup. A cat tourniquet, combat application tourniquet designed by military medicine. A softie tourniquet as backup because redundancy saves lives. Hemostat DAWs impregnated with kaolin clay that triggers the clotting cascade faster than your body can manage alone. The clay provides massive surface area for platelet aggregation and fibrin formation. Pressure bandages that maintain constant compression. Chest seals for sucking chest wounds. Your lung collapses, you die. Simple and brutal. You need to know how to use all this gear before you're bleeding or watching someone else bleed out. Practice on training dummies. Take a wilderness first responder course while those still exist. Because reading instructions while your friend's femoral artery is spray painting the walls is not the ideal learning environment. Stress destroys fine motor skills and reading comprehension. Training creates automatic responses. Antibiotics are the controversial stockpile item, the legally gray area. Broad-spectrum coverage for bacterial infections, amoxicillin for general bacterial coverage, doxycycline for respiratory infections and Lyme disease, ciprofloxacin for urinary tract infections and gastrointestinal infections. Legally questionable to stockpile without prescriptions in most places, but strategically essential for long-term survival. Fish antibiotics are chemically identical to human antibiotics in many cases. Same active ingredient, same molecular structure. I'm not telling you what to do, I'm telling you what keeps people alive when the pharmacy is rubble. Learn to recognize sepsis early because it kills fast. Red streaks radiating from wounds following lymphatic vessels. Fever above 101 Fahrenheit. Altered mental status and confusion. If you see these signs together, your treatment window is measured in hours, not days. This is keeping your people alive long enough to build something beyond mere survival. Because you can't rebuild civilization if everyone's dead from infected paper cuts.
Number 7. The water purification trinity. Water is life.
Also, untreated water is dysentery and death by dehydration from both ends simultaneously. You've got 3 categories of enemies in water, and you need 3 different solutions because one method doesn't solve everything, despite what the marketing claims. First enemy, biological threats. Protozoan cysts like Giardia and Cryptosporidium that cause weeks of intestinal misery. Bacteria like E. coli and Vibrio cholera that can kill you in days. These are large organisms measured in micrometers. Second enemy, viruses. Hepatitis A, norovirus, rotavirus. Tiny packages of misery measured in nanometers, thousands of times smaller than bacteria. Third enemy, chemical and radiological contamination, heavy metals like lead and mercury, dissolved salts, in worst-case nuclear scenarios, radioactive particles that'll give you cancer if they don't kill you first. You need 3 solutions matched to 3 threat categories. First solution, mechanical filtration. A quality water filter with ceramic or hollow fiber membrane rated to 0.1 microns. Removes protozoa and bacteria through simple size exclusion. The organisms are physically too large to squeeze through the membrane pores. Water molecules pass through. Parasites and bacteria stay behind. You've just solved 80% of waterborne illness. Second solution, chemical purification for viruses. Chlorine dioxide tablets or iodine solutions. Viruses are 20 to 400 nanometers. Your filter's pores are 100,000 nanometers. The math doesn't work in your favor. You need chemistry. The chemicals denature viral proteins and disrupt nucleic acids through oxidation reactions. No intact virus, no infection. Follow dosage instructions, wait the full 30 minutes. Rushing means incomplete viral inactivation, which means you get sick anyway. Third solution, distillation and boiling for the nightmare scenario. Heavy metals and radioactive contamination. Boiling kills everything biological through thermal denaturation. Proteins unfold at high heat. Cell membranes rupture. Nothing survives 212 degrees Fahrenheit for several minutes. Number 6, the tool maintenance arsenal. Every tool you own will eventually break. That's not pessimism, that's material science and entropy. Metal fatigues through repeated stress cycles. Edges dull through abrasion. Threads strip through corrosion and over-torquing. The question isn't if your tools will fail, but whether you can fix them when they do. Most people stockpile tools and completely forget the meta tools. The tools that maintain tools. The tools that repair broken tools. You need sharpening stones in multiple grits. Coarse grit around 120 to 200 for repairing damaged edges and reshaping blade profiles. Fine grit around 1000 to 3000 for honing edges to razor sharpness. A dull axe is more dangerous than no axe because it requires more force per swing and can deflect unpredictably into your leg. A sharp edge bites cleanly with less force and more control. You need files in different profiles. Flat files, round files, triangular files, for shaping metal, cleaning threads, adjusting friction fits, sharpening saw teeth. Files work through abrasion. Hardened steel teeth scrape away softer materials. Simple and effective. You need taps and dies, and this is the secret knowledge most preppers completely miss. Taps cut internal threads inside drilled holes. Dies cut external threads onto rods and shanks. Every machine relies on threaded fasteners, bolts, screws, nuts. They strip, they corrode, they shear under load. If you can't recut threads, you can't repair machines. An engine block with stripped bolt holes is scrap metal unless you can re-tap oversized holes. A broken vice grip is garbage unless you can rethread the adjustment mechanism. Taps and dies let you manufacture standardized fasteners from raw stock. They let you adapt salvage parts to completely new purposes. They're the foundation of any machine shop. Stockpile common sizes in both metric and imperial because the apocalypse doesn't care about your measurement preferences. Quarter 20, 1032, M6, M8, M10, the sizes that appear in everything from furniture to engine blocks. Add cutting fluid for metalworking. Reduces friction and heat during thread cutting operations. Your tools will last decades if you maintain them properly, or 6 months if you abuse them. Choose wisely.
Number 5. Silent solar power that never runs dry. Generators are loud, thirsty for fuel, and temporary. They announce your location to everyone within a mile radius. They consume gasoline that degrades into useless varnish after 18 months. Engines seize, carburetors gum up, parts wear out. You want renewable power, silent operation, EMP-resistant analog technology. Solar panels. Small scale, 50 to 100 watts per panel, portable enough to relocate, repairable with basic tools if damaged. Pair them with deep cycle batteries or LiFePO4 lithium iron phosphate cells that handle thousands of charge cycles. The panels convert sunlight to electricity through the photovoltaic effect. Photons hit silicon doped with phosphorus and boron, electrons get excited and jump the band gap. Current flows. No moving parts, no combustion, no fuel consumption, just physics working for you. You're not powering a whole house full of appliances like the old days, you're powering critical small systems. LED security lights that deter predators, human and otherwise. A two-way radio for communication with other survivors. A small water pump for irrigation. Add a charge controller to prevent overcharging that damages batteries. The controller disconnects panels when batteries reach full charge. Simple protection that extends battery life from years to decades. Add a crank radio for communication when batteries eventually fail. Hand crank generators use gearing to spin a dynamo. Your muscles become the power plant. 5 watts of output, but infinite runtime. This is sustainable power. This is how you run lights and radios while everyone else stumbles in darkness burning furniture. Solar panels degrade about 0.5% annually. 40 years of declining but functional output. 80% efficiency at year 40 beats 0% efficiency forever.
Number 4. The paper library of human knowledge. The internet is dead. The servers are offline forever. Your smartphone is an expensive paperweight. Every YouTube tutorial, every Wikipedia article, every technical manual is gone. What's in your head is all you have, unless you printed it. Physical books, actual paper copies, the EMP-proof backup drive for human knowledge. You need medical manuals. Where There Is No Doctor covers field medicine without modern equipment, diagnosing infections, delivering babies, setting fractures with improvised splints. You need agricultural guides. The Foxfire series covers traditional Appalachian skills, food preservation, blacksmithing, animal husbandry, real information from people who lived without electricity. You need technical references, electrical wiring guides for solar installations, basic chemistry textbooks for understanding purification and fertilizer production, metalworking manuals for blacksmithing and welding. This is the knowledge base that lets you troubleshoot problems and teach the next generation. Books don't need batteries. Books don't crash. Books survive water damage if dried carefully. Store them in waterproof containers with desiccant packs. Silica gel absorbs moisture, preventing mold and paper decay. This is civilization in a box, the instruction manual for rebuilding from zero. The Library of Alexandria burned and knowledge was lost forever. Don't repeat that mistake. Redundancy matters. Multiple copies in multiple locations. Give copies to trusted people in your network. Bury a set as backup. Knowledge is the only resource that multiplies when shared. You can give it away and still possess it. It can't be stolen without leaving you a copy. This makes it the most valuable stockpile for rebuilding. Treasure it, protect it, teach from it. Because when the last person who knows how to suture a wound or wire a circuit dies, that knowledge dies forever unless it's written down.
Number 3, the currency of the new world. Money is worthless. Dollar bills are kindling. Your bank account is a meaningless number in a dead database. Credit cards are useless plastic. Cryptocurrency, don't make me laugh, but humans still need to trade. You can't stockpile everything, you need a medium of exchange. Enter pre-1964 US silver coins. Dimes, quarters, half dollars, minted when currency actually contained precious metal. 90% silver content. Intrinsic value that doesn't depend on government backing. Silver has been currency for 5,000 years across every civilization because it's rare enough to be valuable but common enough to circulate. It doesn't corrode, it's stackable, divisible, and recognizable. The coins are standardized weights you can verify with a scale. A pre-1964 quarter contains 0.18 troy ounces of silver. That's trust in physical form. You can't fake the weight and density of silver easily. Supplement with high-demand barter commodities: coffee, salt, tobacco, alcohol. The addictive and essential items people will trade their last possessions for. Coffee doesn't spoil if vacuum-sealed and kept dry. Salt is literally the origin of the word salary. Roman soldiers were paid in salt. Tobacco and alcohol are chemical dependency in plant form. Addicts pay premium rates. Dark economics, but absolutely true. You're building a trade network with hard currency and consumable commodities. You can acquire what you didn't stockpile: medical supplies, ammunition, fresh food, mechanical repair. Everyone has something someone else needs.
Trade enables specialization. Specialization creates efficiency. Efficiency builds civilization above subsistence level. Store silver in small denominations. 1-ounce bars can't buy eggs. Junk silver coins give you flexibility. Welcome back to the barter economy.
Number 2. Ammunition and the reloading bench. Security, hunting, defense. 3 words that encompass survival and lawless territory. You need firearms. More importantly, you need ammunition. Guns without ammo are expensive clubs. Factory ammunition is finite. Once stores are looted and your personal stash depletes, it's gone forever. Unless you reload. Stockpile the 4 components: primers, gunpowder, projectiles, and brass casings. Primers are the hardest to manufacture at home. They require precise, pressure-sensitive chemistry, fulminate of mercury or lead styphenate, and soft metal cups. Industrial production only. Stockpile thousands in common sizes: large pistol, large rifle, small rifle. Gunpowder is nitrocellulose-based propellant that burns at controlled rates. Different burn rates for different applications. Fast powder for pistols, slow powder for rifles. The burn rate controls pressure and velocity. Store it sealed in cool, dry locations away from ignition sources. Projectiles are cast lead or jacketed lead. You can cast bullets from scrap lead if you have molds, wheel weights, plumbing, old batteries. Brass casings are the reusable component. Clean them, resize them, reprime them, recharge with powder, reseat new bullets. One casing handles 10 or more reload cycles before the brass work hardens and splits. This is ammunition independence, the ability to defend your stockpile, hunt game, and trade loaded rounds as premium currency. Focus on common calibers for interoperability. 22 long rifle for small game and training, 9mm for defensive handguns, 5.56 or 7.62 for rifles. Common calibers mean scavenged guns will chamber your ammunition. You're not just stockpiling bullets, you're stockpiling security, hunting capability, and political power. Because in a world without law enforcement, the group with ammunition writes the rules. Secure your supplies, guard your powder magazine, control access strictly.
Number 1. The human network that actually rebuilds. Here's the brutal truth prepper fantasies ignore. You cannot do this alone. The lone wolf dies cold and hungry. The pack survives. You can have every item on this list, mountains of supplies, perfect preparation, but if you're solo, you're dead. One broken leg and you can't hunt or gather. One infection and you're finished. One night you fall asleep and someone takes everything. Game over. Civilization isn't built by individuals, it's built by groups working toward common goals. You need a welder to fabricate and repair metal structures. You need medical personnel to handle trauma and illness. You need teachers to educate children so knowledge transfers to the next generation. You need farmers who understand agriculture beyond theory. You need electricians to wire solar installations safely. You need mechanics to maintain what's left of mechanical equipment. Each person multiplies your capability exponentially. One person knows 10% of necessary skills. 10 people with diverse backgrounds might cover 80% of what's needed. But groups are hard, much harder than solo survival initially. Groups require trust in a world where trust gets you killed. Groups require governance and conflict resolution. Groups require fair distribution of resources and labor. Groups require dealing with personality conflicts and people who don't contribute equally. This is why communities fracture. But the alternative is slow extinction. Social capital is the ultimate stockpile. Not material goods, but relationships. The people you trust who trust you in return. The reputation you've built over years. The skills you bring that make you valuable. This is the foundation of every successful society throughout human history. Shared purpose, division of labor, mutual defense against external threats. Start building your network now before collapse. Develop skills that make you valuable: medical training, welding, teaching, food preservation. Become the person others want when everything falls apart. Contribute more than you consume. Build trust slowly through consistent, reliable behavior. Form alliances with people who have complementary skills. Redundancy in knowledge creates resilience. If only one person knows a critical skill and they die, that capability is lost. If 3 people know it, the group survives. This is the ultimate stockpile, the only one that adapts, learns, and grows beyond your individual lifespan. You can lose every material possession to fire or theft or decay, but competent people working together can rebuild everything from scratch. That's not theory, that's human history. That's how we survived ice ages and plagues and every catastrophe that should have ended us.
So there it is, 10 stockpiles separating the living from the dead.
Food that lasts decades, seeds that grow forever, medical gear that stops bleeding, water systems that prevent disease, tools that repair themselves through maintenance, solar power that never depletes, books that preserve knowledge, silver that enables trade, ammunition that ensures security, and people who make it all worthwhile. The world ended. The easy part is over. Now comes the real work, building back from nothing with everything you managed to prepare. The question is, did you prepare enough? Do you have the supplies, the skills, the knowledge, the people? Because the next crisis is coming. Economic collapse, pandemic, war, climate breakdown. The trigger doesn't matter. The prepared rebuild, the unprepared beg. Which one are you? Drop your answer in the comments. Tell me what you think is the most critical stockpile. Tell me what I missed. Tell me I'm wrong. I'll be here, stockpiling knowledge and preparing for what's coming. Because it's not if anymore. Anyone paying attention knows that. It's when, it's how bad, it's whether you're ready. See you in the wasteland or in the new world we build from the ashes. Your choice, your preparation, your future. Make it count.